Hi, Donna.
Hey, Vivian. Great to see you on a Saturday.
Yes, thanks for making the time over the weekend to catch up.
Absolutely.
So, I'm glad that you decided to, or you accepted my invitation to talk about, your perspective and your opinion on what's happening in the world currently, and with your level of expertise, on COVID-19 and also technology. Love to cover, what people can do and how they can benefit from the information you're going to be sharing with us. But before you get started, let's do a quick intro. If you could tell us, like, what is it that you do and what is your passion and why are you there?
Okay, like where to start on that one? I would be remiss if I didn't start with my passion being around my family and my kids, first and foremost, because if they ever saw this video, they'd wonder why I didn't start with that. So certainly, my family is really important to me. And, during this COVID crisis, it's really bringing home literally the children right here at the house. And so that's my personal passion. As far as background, I like to think of myself as a very eclectic person, as far as interests and hobbies that span a huge variety. In fact, I kind of joke that I'm a hobbyist of hobbies. So I've done a lot of different things in my life, and that's how I like to define myself as multidimensional. So things from, doing horseback riding with my daughter to scuba diving to, taking dance classes, that sort of stuff. And then on the work front, I would say maybe that's more in one lane, in that I have 20 years being in technology. And most recently, I joined a pretty awesome company called Databricks. We were just recently named in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for data science and machine learning. And I've been with Databricks just 2 months. And career-wise, within IT, I would say these days I've spent a lot of time in health and life sciences, all told 12 years, 6 years working for the Department of Health and Human Services, and then 6 years owning my own business prior to Databricks, specializing in healthcare analytics, so doing a lot of work in big data and machine learning. And prior to Databricks, really supporting large hospital systems throughout the country, helping them implement their first ever big data and AI solutions. And besides healthcare, I'll also brag that I've supported other organizations like Coca-Cola and companies like Comcast, where I've helped train all their data scientists and data engineers on Spark.
So, what I should have said before I made the introduction or had you introduce yourself is the fact that the reason I even invited you is because I find that you have a wealth of information. And like you said, wealth of information in technology and healthcare, but in your personal life too, because you have a broad scope of the way you look at the world. And I find your perspective to be very unique and creative. But that's our personal relationship. We'll put that to aside. We'll come back to another video on that one. But for now, your background with your knowledge and perspective on healthcare and technology, I think it's a great combination to really enlighten our community on what you've been finding, right? And what you've been curating. And I'd like to really dive into that because you shared with me not too long ago on the information that you're curating. And I find that so fascinating. So I want to give the floor to you if you want to.
Well, first of all, I want to correct something that you said earlier,
Okay.
which is you called me a COVID-19 expert. I mean, I would cross out the word expert for sure. I think I will say that I read a lot about what's going on in our country right now. And I've had the opportunity to talk to other experts, and particularly I have friends that are clinicians, and they educate me the most. So the stuff that I'm doing, I would say, is just a small part in contributing to really the information and the innovation that's going on in our country around COVID-19. As horrible as this pandemic has been for our society and the world at large, the thing that is so impressive to me is that it's really catapulting technology innovation and just new ways of thinking on how to really fix the things that are broken.
Right. There are problem solvers. Clearly, there's a big problem in the system, right?
Yeah.
In healthcare. So it's actually knocking out two birds with one stone. One, the healthcare system, we really know it is broken, right? So we're approaching.
There are improvement opportunities.
Yeah, there are opportunities for that. And
yeah.
then alongside trying to introduce technologies and innovation to resolve this COVID-19 scenario.
Absolutely, yeah. So one aspect that I'm very passionate about is a meetup that I'm launching called Music, Medicine, and Machines. And it's a little bit, I guess, taken from the accomplishments by South by Southwest and Burning Man.
Inspired
by. I think for sure, I love when innovation and learning is combined with a creative approach. Just like you, I think of myself as a creative person because I used to do drawing and art when I had time. Now I don't get a chance to do that. But what I wanted to do in launching the meetup was really to humanize technology innovation, right? I'm a big Andrew Yang fan. You know that, and he is his saying is always humanity first. And what I have found in my field of big data and AI is sometimes we don't think about the human factors. And music, in particular, is such a uniting force that brings people together. And for me personally, being a non-musician, I'll say that up front, I'm lucky to have kids that are all very musical. And I realized, it hit me on a drive when I came up with the name for the meetup, that there was so much joy in music and so much creativity that it spurs, that I wanted to bring that sense of joy and unification and humanity to the way that we think of technology and innovation.
Mm-hmm.
So hence music, medicine, and machines. I wanted to focus in healthcare, of course, since that's something that I'm deeply involved with. And that's the name. We want to put an element of music in every event somehow. So we're inviting speakers. I'm really excited. Hopefully we'll be able to announce some of the folks that are doing this. But one thing that is super cool is a lot of smart people love music. So there's a lot of, I'm seeing physicians that have this intersection, clinicians and other people in healthcare that have this intersection of being interested in data science and machine learning and music and technology and medicine. So.
And I think that, is an aspect of having a good balance between your left hemisphere of your brain and your right hemisphere. So in one sense, in the fields that you describe in technology, you would think it's more the area of logic and pragmatism, right? Your thinking side of your brain. But then to, like you said, marry that side of yourself with the creative aspect, the music, coming up with a concept and marrying that together, really shows that a person is fairly complete,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, for sure. I think it's when I find those people that I feel validated. And it doesn't, it isn't excluded to music. I think a lot of artists and people in the creative field are also have interests beyond, just art, right? And they are just as much interested in technology and in medicine. I mean, certainly healthcare is being catapulted as a #1 topic given, this pandemic.
So with that, earlier you had shown me a list of ideas or innovation that's happening right now. You don't get a whole list of that in mainstream media, because I think everyone's kind of, you know, running around with their heads cut off at this moment, trying to figure things out, right? If not for themselves, then for their community. But you've actually taken the time outside of your personal life to pull this content together. Tell me or tell us a little bit more about that. Like, what's the drive? Why are you doing this? And how can, your audience benefit?
Yeah, so we are hoping to have our first launch event this month. Just like everyone else, we're struggling as a meetup. If people who aren't familiar with meetups, they're usually done in person. And I've been fortunate to run 2 other meetups for the last 6 years. I run the Apache Spark meetup in the Washington, D.C. area. And I also had run the AI and Big Data Healthcare meetup, and grew those meetup communities to over 5,000 members strong, all told. And I wanted to launch this music, medicine, and machines again to kind of unify more of that creative and healthcare and innovation bent.
Yeah.
But usually you do that in person. So certainly COVID has had an impact with that. And so we're trying to pivot now to, bring virtual content to play here that we haven't had to before. So we're struggling the same as other people to get a Zoom meeting up and all those simple things, which hopefully we'll have resolved this month.
Okay, then let's pivot a little bit. What has it been like, coming from a place of technology and innovation? What has it been like for you conducting meetings online and everyone, respecting those social distancing? What's it like for you in your world?
Yeah, and we talked a little bit earlier. I love your idea about connecting with people to talk about this experience, because everybody's going through it and it is different. For those of us who are technically inclined, we think, oh my gosh, so easy, we'll do everything virtually now. But it is a cultural change and a cultural shock for everyone to get online. To no longer be able to do business meetings in person. For me personally, I always feel like I'm much better in person. So like to try to connect with people on a virtual front is very unusual for me. Like, this is the first time I'm meeting you and I have to build a relationship with you all virtually. Very foreign and odd. And, being isolated at home, I'll say, when you have like dogs and kids is very, very hard. I've had a few calls where I'm totally freaked out because I could hear my daughter in the back. I know people can't hear her because I have my earbuds on, but I could hear her and she's screaming, I'm like, oh my God. And it's so hard for me to even concentrate on what people are talking about because I'm so nervous about, her in the background. And I'm texting my sons, please shut up your sister. So things like that, I think everyone is struggling with that same issue. And then, also a lot of people don't want to be seen online. And so you're online. I try to have my video on. Databricks encourages us to. And a lot of people don't want to join that way, and it's hard for me to interface with somebody when I don't get a chance to look at their face or know how they're really feeling, because then I have to guess, oh, tone of voice, did I just say the wrong thing? You know, do I need
Right.
to,
I
do
noticed
some,
how you just see their icon.
yeah, yeah,
And when
exactly.
it's just a voice conference, it is challenging because, like
Yeah,
you said, you can't pick up the cues like you can visually,
exactly.
the facial expressions or body language.
Yeah,
That's completely absent. So, I've noticed we're interrupting each other, and then that can eventually feel a little frustrating, over
yeah.
time. Yeah. So those are a bit of a challenge. Are there any things that you feel is more beneficial?
Of doing
What's
things
positive about
online.
all this in video conferencing, like you feel that's working out
Hmm.
other than,
Well,
the
that's a good one. That's a
stage?
good one.
Yeah.
I would say, at least from a meetup standpoint, in that, you know, um, kind of medium, you have an opportunity to capture a broader audience when you're virtual, right? You could have people all over join and you could get the word out, and you have that opportunity. From a business standpoint, um, it's, I don't know, honestly, if I were to say the first thing in my mind, if it's the best medium from a business standpoint. I think, yeah, it gives me a chance to connect with people, a lot faster. I don't have to fly all the way to California just to have a meeting. I could have a meeting tomorrow. But I would tend to, at least for the first meetings, prefer to meet people in person. From a personal standpoint, I joked with you earlier that it's kind of fun when you go to like instant messenger and use all the filters with your girlfriends, and you get to put on, all the funny faces and things like that. So I've had a couple events like that. And so on the personal front, it's allowed me to stay connected with some people that I hadn't been able to.
Yeah, this whole experience is making us rethink on the definition of feeling connected, you know.
That is a really great point. I know family members that are doing, one of my friends, she told me 20 members of her family are getting together today online.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I have found is, different generations have adapted differently to
Yes,
technology.
that's
So
right.
good luck getting everyone started on time.
Right, that
Last week,
too.
it took me 20 minutes to get a video conference launched, with everyone being able to get access and stuff. So,
There's
um,
a there's a cultural shift that's happening. And what do you
yeah,
think it's going to be like after? Do you think we will be able to go back to the way it used to be? Or do you think,
that's a good question, because I think there will be some people that don't want to go back, that have loved this experience working from home. I certainly have gotten a lot of advantages working more from home. I had flexibility to do so before this happened, but I kind of preferred to go into the office, a good amount. But um, when you 100% work from home, there's no more excuses about not working out, right? Well, what kind of excuse could you have? So there's that benefit. You could even go work out during lunch, and I'm cooking more. I'm seeing my family more. I spend less time on the road. I had a terrible commute at one point, an hour and a half one way. So capturing that time back into my life, I get to spend more time cleaning my house.
yes,
So
I
lots of good things. I don't know. I think there will be some people that want to kind of keep it this way. And then I'm worried about the people that once, some of this lockdown gets lifted, that will have some big parties, and then we'll have a wave of sickness associated
yeah.
with it, because people are going stir crazy, being alone.
Hmm. That's
Yeah.
a possibility. You know, situations, the change has actually worked out for me because I have worked at home, home office for a few years now. So
What do you think then? Are you going to go, are you going to stay more at home, or, you know, you can't wait to spend
No,
more
I
time?
actually enjoy it because I have now less pressure to have people understand my preference, you know, because generally before the ordinance, people wanted to meet in person as if that was a way to be even more productive. I mean, it's psychological to think you're more productive if you're in person, you know,
Mhm.
in attendance, right? Like they can
Yeah.
physically see you do the work. But
Yeah.
alternatively, for those who are accustomed to working at home, they feel that they are actually more productive because there's no this nuance of people walking around, you know, dropping into your office or, you know, making small talks, right? Or
Yeah.
uh, this is it craving to grab a snack, you know, in
Yes.
the break room and things like that.
Yeah.
You don't have any of that. It's completely stripped off. So you're kind of
Right.
more forced into this myopic work environment where you got to get work done, right?
So do you feel like you're more disciplined?
I personally feel that, yeah, well, personally, I think I'm a very disciplined person. Outside of, you know, like exercise, I am not disciplined when it comes to exercise. But, you know, as far as like working and reaching um, my milestones and projects, that's been really easy. And the relief has been, well, good. Now all my, you know, colleagues or clients, they're in the same, you know, boat. So I feel that they understand, you know, where I like to be. Yeah. So I kind of like, and I'm, and so the world knows I'm rather an introvert, even though a lot of people are surprised by that. But I flourish in a quiet environment. You know, that's my.
Yeah, I was just chatting about Myers-Briggs with a friend of mine, because I was saying that I always thought of myself as a learned extrovert, and that I was
Yeah.
really more of an I. But now with COVID, I've been questioning that.
Oh.
I'm like, maybe I am more of an E, because I definitely have missed being around people. But I wouldn't argue with you on productivity. I feel incredibly more productive. Even with my kids around, I feel like I get a lot more stuff done. My kids are older, so they can keep themselves entertained as well as do their own stuff. Um, but yeah, I definitely feel like I'm crossing a lot more to-dos off my list a lot faster
Mm.
on all fronts, you know, not just on the work front, but on the home front too. I can, you know, literally get things done more at home, whereas before, you know, I felt like I had a dirtier house, and, you know, a lot of things that just kept piling up at home.
Yeah.
Dishes always piling up, everything just piling up, and yeah,
I think
getting more of that done.
we all can definitely relate to that. So thanks for sharing the personal side of, you know, this change.
Sure.
Now, I'd like to come back just briefly. I don't want to take too much more of your time on this, but with the Meetup organization that you just launched and the research that you're doing on curating innovation, you know,
Yeah.
I think that's really fantastic. So what are your next steps, and what can people do to learn more about it? What can they do to follow you and, you know, learn?
Absolutely, yeah. You could find us on meetup.com. Just type in music, medicine, and machines. We should be the only one with that name. We've launched,
Three
sorry.
M's.
Yeah, 3Ms, exactly. We've launched the meetup in New York and in Washington, D.C., so you could see us there. And please join, since we hope to announce our first event in April, which will be a virtual event. So you can follow us there. Of course, I'm an avid user of LinkedIn, so you could find me on LinkedIn too. And I do have a Twitter, but I just don't tweet as much as I need to. But I would start there. Find us on LinkedIn and on meetup.com.
Okay.
As far as the innovation board that I've been curating, we're going to launch it at our first event. And for those who know me in technology, they know that I am a nut over Trello. And if people haven't ever seen Trello, it's TRELLO.com. They offer sort of these, I don't know how to describe them, management boards where you track action items and to-dos, and you create lists essentially. And so I've been curating an innovation board for COVID-19, for the technologies that are springing up around tracking the disease, the testing, the treatments, the vaccines, all the way from an end-to-end pipeline for recovery. I think there's a lot of folks that aren't thinking on like, well, what happens next, right? Everyone is been laser focused on how bad the outbreak has been and which here in the US, which states are the next epicenter, how many people are dying, which is really sad. But I want to bring to the forefront looking at it more, looking at innovation from end to end, because what's so shocking and surprising is all the creative thinking that's coming to play to help, figure out cures, essentially, not just medical cures and vaccines, but cures for our weakened healthcare system, right? And you know, cool stuff happening from virtual reality front to the genomics front to AI and big data solutions that are looking for predictive capabilities to, prevent the next outbreak. It's amazing. And even, technology coming to light on how to help treatment at the hospital to make sure that patients that are at the highest risk are getting the attention that they need when they need it. Things like that are what is so amazing to me that's happening in our field right now.
You're getting me all excited because I love talking about things like this. But
Yeah.
I'm curious, where's the innovation coming from mostly? Is it in the East Coast, West Coast? Is there like a hotspot? This is for all the creative problem solvers out there,
yeah.
To innovate, to continue to innovate. And where's the hotspot for that?
I mean, always Silicon Valley has been, a forefront in innovation. But what I've seen is it's happening worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing countries like Australia, for example, being one of the first to announce clinical trials and studies happening with vaccines and things like that. So I think worldwide that innovation is happening, and people are looking at different solutions. Even things like blockchain, Bitcoin are coming to light as potential solutions, and people are really stepping up too to donate their capabilities to fight the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, Databricks has done that. We've done training to help people be able to tap into the data sets that have been open sourced and made public, and helping kind of educate those data scientists and researchers to take a closer look at that data. So, I think it's hard right now for me to say, okay, people are really doing awesome in this location. Maybe that's an opportunity for someone to track for sure. So
yeah, no, I told a few of my colleagues, this is very basic knowledge, but there are two main outcomes from this. One is you come out better as an individual, in a crisis, you come out better than who you were or who you are, or you come out worse. And you come out worse when you surrender and in fear, right?
Yeah.
As if it is the end of the world and you just kind of succumb to ice cream and chocolate chip cookies.
Yes.
Or you
Yeah.
come out better by either improving yourself, reflecting on your life, or you try to innovate so that you can better the community. And
Yeah.
you know, our conversation or any conversations we have in regards to the crisis right now, we all have to just ask ourselves, how are we going to come out of this better?
Exactly.
Or,
Yeah.
you know, we were.
Yeah, even most impressive really is people who are volunteering, right, at the front line to help those in need. As you know, it's not just a health crisis, but an economic crisis for people who no longer have jobs right now.
Yeah.
I just admire the people that have the strength to really do that. You know, for me, I'm you know, when we launch the meetup, I'm just hoping to create insight and share knowledge. Certainly, our clinicians, our doctors and nurses are the ones that I admire the most. I have friends involved in that, and you know, really endangering their own lives to help strangers,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up because you're absolutely right. It is testing our skills, you know, on testing ourselves as humans. You know, what can we do? What can we really do? What are we really capable of? You know,
Yeah,
depths of
um,
mercy.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So again, quick reminder: music, medicine, and machines on
Yeah,
Meetup. Right? That's how they can find
that's
you.
right.
Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Find us there.
And you know, a little plug for YK Creative. So YK Creative is a business that I have, and you know, one of the goals of having these discussions is that I want to highlight brands. I want to highlight brands, people who are doing great things. And you know, sometimes you get so busy with the work that you do, the world doesn't know what you're doing. And so I feel that it is my call of duty to highlight these amazing, you know, starlets or stars and bring them to the forefront to show what they are doing. And as a business or as a brand, right now is the time to shine or to surface, to be in the light versus going dark versus just disappearing. So if you have a business, it's really important to either market, build your brand awareness, let the world know that you are in this world and you're doing something fantastic. So
I think
okay,
that's a fantastic cause.
thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Thanks, Donna, for your time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Thank you,
come back
Vivian.
because I want to stay on top of, you know, the work that you're doing, and we want the world to know.
Yeah. Would love to do this again after we launch our meetup. For
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. See ya.